This Chicago, nigga. Chicago, nigga.
All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right, who is a so-called black man according to the Bible, an Israelite of the tribe of Judah, just like you Negroes out here. Man. Get Luke 168. You gotta read down to 7. Yeah. Alright, so what we about to go into is how the Israelites are, you see Israelites being talked about all through the Bible, right? This is the book of the Israelites and not of all nations. The Bible is a book that the Most High gave to Israel.
That's right.
And none else. All right. So from the first book of Genesis to the end of Revelations, it's talking about the Israelites through and through, right? How much the Most High cares for the Israelites. How much the Most High how Most High is dealing with the Israelites. All right. So let's get who these Gentiles are in the New Testament, because that's where it allegedly changes, right? That's where the Christianity has made it to believe that all nations come in at the New Testament. The other God in the Old Testament, he was dealing with Israel, right? He was dealing with one people. He was a loving God, but you know he did some stuff in New Testament changed that. Jesus changed that.
Replacement theology.
Kind of replacement theology. Go ahead.
Excuse me. You good, sis? Go ahead.
Luke chapter 1 and 68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people.
So blessed be the Lord God of Israel, right? Because he visited and redeemed his people. Who is his people? He just said Israel, right? Go ahead.
Verse 69. And hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David.
And raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of David. That's talking about the king of Israel. All right. So he raised up a horn of salvation for us, the Israelites, which is Christ. All right, read on.
Verse 70. And he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
So from the mouth of his holy prophets, the prophets didn't begin with Moses, right? The prophets were even before Moses. Okay, with even the book of Genesis 1, it talks about the prophets, right? Even Abraham had the prophecies too. All of our patriarchs had some type of prophecy in dealing with the Most High, right? Relating to the end times. All right.
Verse 71. That we shall be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
And that's what those prophecies are ultimately talking about. How Israel was going to be saved from our enemies and all those that hate us, right? All those that hate it, that Israel was going to get the kingdom in the end, right? When the world set in its proper order under the Most High God's Son, Yahweh Shai. Is that all 71? All 71. Okay. Get Jeremiah 23, verse 5. All right, we just saw how in the New Testament that is talking about Israel being saved from everybody that hates him, right? Not all nations, not the white man, not the Asian man, not the Chinese man, right? But the nation of Israel, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans today. All right, read on.
Jeremiah chapter 23 and 5. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch.
A righteous branch was going to be raised unto David. Go ahead.
And a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth.
A king was going to reign and prosper, right? And he was going to execute judgment and justice throughout the earth, right? This king was going to judge the earth, okay? You know how they talk about Judgment Day? That's what Yahushua is coming back to bring, Judgment Day. That's right. All right. Was that 6?
Chapter verse 6. In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is the name of and this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness.
So he was going to be called the Lord our righteousness, right? He said he's coming back for Judah and Israel to be saved.
That's right.
Not Judah, Israel, and Edom. Right? There's only 12 gates in the kingdom of Israel. Okay? In Revelations. Get Job 9 and 24. All right? Bringing up that Judges just reminded me of something. We can't forget who the devil is according to the Bible. All right? We need to always be in the know of who our enemy is. Okay? How the Bible is saying that Israel was going to be saved from our enemies. Who's that enemy talking about?
Job chapter 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
He covers the faces of the judges thereof. So the wicked one covers the faces of the judges thereof. Right?
If not, where and who is he?
If he's not the one that covered the faces of the judges, where and who is he? Right? So Christ, the king of the universe, really, the king of Israel, is coming back to execute judgment and justice upon the earth. Right? But who they say that Yahushua is now, that Jesus is now? The white man, Caesar Borgia, right? You can look that up.
Get that in Revelation 2. Not 2, 1. You know what I'm talking about,
yeah. All right, but Yahushua is a so-called black man according to the Bible, and we're going to bring that out right now. All right.
And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks.
So this is John being given a prophecy by Yahushua. He's describing what he's seeing, 7 golden candlesticks, and what was in the middle of them.
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot.
So Jesus Christ was in the middle of it, clothed with a long garment on, right?
And girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
Like how you see a lot of these Israelites on the street corners with, right? Dressed with a long garment on, and they got a girdle around their waist. Go ahead.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, okay? Relating his hair to wool.
As white as snow.
White as snow. So that's the color. That's the color and the texture of his hair. White and woolly. Go ahead, like an old Jay, like an old black man, right? Right. White and woolly hair.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
His eyes as a flame of fire, right? Because he's mad. He's coming back to the earth to execute justice and judgment, right? He's mad because of the way that our enemies have treated us for the past 500 years, right? There's plenty of fire built up in the eyes of the Most High God and His Son, all right? to bring vengeance upon this white man. Go ahead.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
And his feet like unto fine brass, being a black man, right? The feet are the same color as the rest of you, right? If you burn a penny in a furnace, it's going to turn dark. All right?
That was it on that?
And his voice as the sound of many waters.
And his voice the sound of many waters, a loud voice, right? Like how they talk about black people being loud and all of that, right? The white man moves in to your hoods and complains about the loud music and the loud, you can hear the conversations all day, right? Being loud. Our people are known for that, black and Hispanics, right? So that's the description of who the world calls Christ. Now look, even from a completely carnal standpoint, right? Wouldn't you be mad if you went around the earth, you the greatest man ever, right? Wouldn't you be mad if somebody just painted you, somebody just perpetrated you, somebody just stole your identity, right? Well, that's another reason why Christ should be mad, right? Because the white man has taught that who the world calls Christ was an effeminate man, right? That's just hugging babies all day, right? Coddling lambs with long stringy dog hair, with blue eyes, like a white man you see today, right? Painted some Fabio looking dude, right? But Yahushua was a strong black man of the tribe of Judah, right? The Bible says he's an austere man, meaning serious. The Most High didn't, Yahushua didn't play games with people, right?
Right.
He was always serious. So there we go. The white man is a goddamn devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
Okay? Proved right there. The wicked one is who painted over the word over Christ in the Bible, right?
Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 9. But they shall serve the Lord their God and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them.
But the Israelites were going to serve David our king, right? David is long gone. He's dead, right? So this is talking about his descendants, more accurately, who the world calls Christ. All right, read.
Verse 10. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid.
Right, none is going to make us afraid. And he was going to save us from our captivity, right?
Isaiah 45:17.
Right, so far we haven't seen any other nation mentioned but Israel, right? Only Israel being saved. I challenge anybody to find where another nation was going to be saved in the end, where God says that he was going to save another nation from the hand of all their enemies and those that oppress them.
Isaiah 45 and 17.
Bring it out.
But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation.
An everlasting salvation, right? Israel was going to be saved with an everlasting salvation. Go ahead.
Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end.
And Israel is a world without end.
That's right.
So our kingdom, our rulership is never going to end. All right? That's point blank period. Christ is going to have an everlasting dominion, right? So that's the Israelites on top, as the Most High intended it to be from the beginning. All right, because the Most High doesn't change, right?
Right.
If he was saying the Israelites are great in Deuteronomy, he's saying the Israelites are great in Isaiah and in the New Testament. Okay? He ain't put any other nation with us.
Luke chapter 1 and 71. That we shall be saved from our enemies and from the land of all that hate us.
That we should be saved from our enemies and all of them that hate us. All right, read.
To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant.
And that's how he's going to perform the mercy that was promised to our fathers. So when you read about Abraham being blessed, right, he's talking about the Israelites. All right, Abraham's seed, all nations being blessed through Abraham's seed, right? He's talking about the Israelites being blessed. Okay, and all the other nations that blessed Israel was going to be blessed. But have they done that? No. They've cursed us, and that's why we're going to take them into captivity. That's why it's saying that he's going to save us from all of our enemies. The whole world is against the Israelites. All right? If you haven't noticed by now. If the whole world wasn't against us, wouldn't they have come back? When they realized we were stolen from Africa, wouldn't they come back with their whole fleet, right? Say, give our brothers back? But no. Like they did, like in the movie Black Panther, right? They had the technology more advanced than any society in the world. They still didn't come get us. They didn't help Killmonger out, right? In trying to liberate our people. They were selfish and gave it to the UN, right? Even more of our enemies. Yeah, the so-called white man, right?
Verse 73. The oath which he swore to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear.
So we might serve him without fear, right? Because Negroes in the truth nowadays, right? Once we first come into the truth, we learn we got to do all this type of stuff, right? We got to wear fringes. We got to not celebrate these certain holidays. When you walking up in the job and you got to have fringes on, you're gonna be kind of ashamed the first time you do it, right? Or you might never do it because you're too scared, man.
Right.
He said we're never going to be ashamed to worship the Most High God.
That's right.
You know, the God of our fathers, right?
Verse 75. In holiness and righteousness before him in all the days of our life.
And all the days of our life, we're going to serve the Most High God in the kingdom of heaven, right? The Israelites are never going to go off again. So when you think about the perils of the black and Hispanic in America right now, right? How wrong they treat us, how much injustice happens to us for the smallest things. Like you get pulled over on the side of the road, right? And you reach for your registration, your license and registration. They think it's a weapon, they kill your ass, man.
Right.
For simple stuff like that, even other stuff, right? That they do to us. Like how back in the day, right? The Puerto Rican man, they wouldn't let them in the churches, in the Catholic churches, right? And they had riots over that. All right, just stuff like that, right? They ill-treating us. They're not giving us that proper respect as a nation, right? But that's fine because Jesus Christ is going to come back and make sure they respect us. All right, you're going to put some respect on the name of the Most High.
That's right.
All right.
If we could put down all our blickies and Rugers, if I could bring together the 60s and Hoovers, If I could unite disciples and vice lords and give them both something more important to fight for. And if I could unite all the Harlems and Brims, then we can rise as a people and our stardom begins. We Israelites, native Latinos, Negroes, Garvey X and Geronimo, just a few of my heroes.